Welcome back to Whatever You Need, the sanctuary where we do not merely observe the lives of the stars, we dissect the very human emotions that pulse beneath the couture and the camera flashes. Tonight, we are transporting you to the glittering banks of the Bosphorus, to a night that began as a celebration of union but evolved into a masterclass in emotional intelligence. We are talking about a wedding that became a stage, a drama starring Özge Yağız, her partner Gökberk Demirci, and the ghost of a past that refused to stay buried. Before we step onto the red carpet of this high-stakes evening, take a moment to ensure you are subscribed to our channel. If you crave storytelling that respects your intelligence, click that subscribe button. And for those who wish to support independent, deep-dive journalism, the join button is waiting for you. Your membership is the heartbeat of Whatever You Need. Now, let us adjust our bow ties and pour a glass of something sparkling. We have a story to tell. History is rarely made in quiet rooms, it is made in the crowded halls where everyone is watching, waiting for a crack in the porcelain. Tonight, all eyes were fixed on a venue that hosted not just two powerful families united in matrimony, but a fascinating collision of timelines. It was the kind of event that every reporter from downtown Istanbul to the elite coastal districts had circled in red ink. The guest list was a veritable who's who of the entertainment world, a collection of surnames that carry weight and influence. But as the evening began to breathe, it became apparent that the true story wasn't the bride and groom. The center of gravity shifted the moment the arrival list finalized, revealing a variable that no social calculator had accounted for. The presence of Özge's ex-partner, accompanied by his notoriously prominent family. In the theater of high society, this is the scenario that keeps people awake at night. Imagine the scene: a room suffocated by perfume and expectation, a celebration of eternal love, and just a few tables away sits the person who once held the map to your heart. It is a recipe for disaster, a script written for awkwardness. But for Özge Yağız and Gökberk Demirci, this was not a nightmare to be endured. It was a canvas to be painted. It was a rare opportunity to demonstrate to the world, without a single press release, what it truly means to turn the page. Let us speak first of the architecture of their arrival. When Özge stepped out of the vehicle, she did not merely walk, she glided. She entered the venue wearing a dress that felt less like a garment and more like a lesson in the power of restraint. In an era of sequins and shouting fabrics, she chose the whisper of clean lines and impeccable tailoring. It was a study in simplicity applied to charm, a flash of light that didn't scream for attention but rather commanded it through sheer poise. Her makeup was a rebellion against the heavy masks often seen at such galas. It was natural, ethereal, designed to highlight her features rather than reconstruct them. Her entire demeanor broadcasted a frequency of peace, standing in stark contrast to the storm the tabloids were hoping for. She didn't need to attract the gaze of the room, she magnetized it effortlessly. Beside her stood Gökberk, looking less like an accessory and more like a fortress. His presence was not possessive, a trap many partners fall into when facing the ex, but rather a declaration of absolute partnership. From the moment the car doors opened to the blinding galaxy of flashbulbs, through the choreography of greetings and handshakes, the two displayed a connection that simply cannot be improvised. It was in the micro-expressions, looks that contained entire paragraphs of reassurance, knowing smiles shared over the rim of a glass, words whispered behind a hand that spoke of an exclusive world only they inhabited. This was the silent grammar of a bond that has been tested and tempered. They entered a field that had every potential to turn into a minefield, yet they walked with the calm assurance of two people who owned the map. And then, the moment the room had been holding its breath for, the arrival of the elephant. The tension, thick enough to be cut with a knife, materialized when her ex and his family crossed the threshold. In such a hyperexposed context, the past does not exist merely in the abstract realm of memory. It buys a ticket, wears a tuxedo, and shows up on time to drink your champagne. Instantly, the collective gaze of the hall, hundreds of eyes, darted from the newcomers to Özge, and then to Gökberk. Conversations were suspended in mid-sentence, glasses hovered halfway to lips. The air rippled with the thrill of voyeurism. Would there be a stumble? A flash of discomfort? A sudden retreat to the balcony? The reaction of the couple became the focus of feverish, almost forensic attention. Yet, Özge's expression remained as smooth as marble. There was no flicker of panic, no hardening of the jaw. And Gökberk? His composure was the ultimate weapon. He defused the potential for malice simply by refusing to acknowledge it as a threat. Those who knew. He was fully aware of the dynamics at play, and he had chosen serenity as his shield. It was a barrier he erected around her, not by puffing out his chest, but by offering a steady, grounded energy. It was a discreet wall between her and the glances searching for cracks in their armor. This is what true security looks like. It doesn't need to roar, it just needs to stand still. Before we analyze the deeper psychology of this encounter, I have a question for you, the whatever you need family. Have you ever had to face a past love in a public setting while with a new partner? How did you handle the pressure? Did you crumble or did you shine like Özge and Gökberk? Tell us your stories in the comments below. We want to build a community that learns from each other. And don't forget, if you are enjoying this analysis, a like goes a long way in helping us defeat the YouTube algorithm. Naturally, the rumor mill began to churn before the appetizers were even served. Whispers circulated among the flower arrangements that Özge and her ex were carefully avoiding one another, that their paths were being managed like air traffic control. Curiosity, being a deeply human reflex, tried to fish out fragments of memory in a sea of new beginnings. But neither Özge nor her former partner offered the spectators the drama they secretly craved. There was no awkward gesture, no sudden turn of the head to avoid eye contact, nothing that could be twisted into a sensational headline. What we witnessed was a script of grown-up composure, a display of sobriety that nipped any suggestion of crisis in the bud. Meanwhile, the most attentive observers, the ones who watch hands rather than faces, noticed something in Gökberk that is worth more than 100 press statements: active care. It was the hand placed on the small of her back at the precise moment the crowd surged, the check-in glance to ensure she was comfortable, the smile that dispelled doubts before they could form. On the dance floor, between the swells of music and the applause, the two created a private island in the middle of a sea of watching eyes. In conversations with other guests, Gökberk frequently circled back to Özge with a joke or a light touch, a physical reminder that said, "I see you, you are here with me, and we are solid." These images reinforced a conviction that began to settle over the room: the past no longer has any jurisdiction here. Many commentators have interpreted Gökberk's relaxed demeanor as a definitive statement: he is keeping her. But it goes deeper than that. It was a message that said, I embrace her history, ghosts included, because I am secure in her future. There is immense power in that simplicity. It tells the world, I do not fear those who have walked through your life before me, because I know who walks beside you now. As the evening heated up, and the formality of the ceremony gave way to the unbridled joy of the party, Özge's spirit seemed to unlock. She was seen laughing with friends, chatting in that lively, effervescent tone that suggests a newly acquired lightheartedness. She wasn't looking over her shoulder, she was fiercely inhabiting the present moment. And Gökberk's active participation, his cheerful exchanges, that playful, magnetic energy between them, lit up the room. By the end of the night, the verdict was unanimous: they were the most harmonious couple of the event, almost stealing the show from the newlyweds through sheer charisma. We must also give credit where it is due regarding the other side of the equation. For Özge's ex, the atmosphere was undoubtedly more subdued, yet he played his part with dignity. Sitting with his family, he maintained a respectful profile. There were no discordant notes, no over-the-top gestures designed to draw attention or provoke. It was as if he was trying to calm the tide before it could rise. His elegance, his ability to smile without intruding, was interpreted as a sign that the chapters were truly closed. It was a truce signed in silence, a mutual agreement to protect the dignity of everyone involved. The extreme courtesy of his family prevented any dramatic turn of events, ensuring that the night remained a celebration of love rather than a battleground of egos. The story, however, did not end with the last song. What happened next was as discussed as the party itself. According to backstage sources, Özge and Gökberk left the venue looking surprisingly relaxed, not like two people who had just survived a high-wire act, but like a couple emerging from a simple, happy date. Their smiles as they exited were a silent response to all the whispers of the night. Özge, arm in arm with Gökberk, leaned into him for a moment while the photographers clicked away. A quick snap, a sincere smile, and the internet exploded. "This relationship is stronger than we thought," the comments read. It was learned that throughout the evening, they balanced closeness with freedom perfectly. Özge would drift to her friends, Gökberk to his, always reuniting naturally, without anxiety. A source close to the couple shared a whisper that became the night's defining caption. At one point, Gökberk reportedly leaned toward Özge and said softly, "The past is the past, the present counts." Whether a verbatim quote or a summary of the vibe, it perfectly encapsulates the emotional current of the night. They even found time for a short dance, perfect in its discretion, movements in sync, a shared rhythm, a bubble of understanding. It wasn't a performance for the cameras. It was just a shared moment. But the next day, social media did what it was born to do, it amplified the silence. Stolen snapshots, blurry and grainy, surfaced online, showing the couple side by side and serene. The debate erupted. Some celebrated the maturity on display, convinced that these smiles confirmed the definitive closure of the past. Others, projecting their own insecurities, wondered how it felt to be Southwest physically close to an old flame. But ultimately, the visual evidence overcame the fears. They appeared as a team, a small, unbreakable unit that had faced a stress test and passed with flying colors. So, what does this night of perfect outfits and high stakes teach us? It teaches us that true elegance is not just in the dress you wear, but in the way you cross a room when everyone expects you to stumble. Özge didn't just exist in that space, she navigated through old triggers and new spotlights without touching a single mine. Gökberk didn't just accompany her, he proved he was a haven, not a cage. The past might have been sitting a few tables away, dressed in suits and ties, but the present was at the center of the dance floor, embraced and reaching out toward the future. We want to hear from you. Do you think this night proves that Özge and Gökberk are in it for the long haul? And who would you like us to cover next on our channel? Perhaps a deep dive into the lives of Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir. Or maybe the hidden world of Demet Özdemir. Leave your requests in the comments. Thank you for spending your time with whatever you need. If this story resonated with you, if you appreciate the way we look beyond the headlines, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And for those who want to be part of our inner circle, click that join button to support us directly. Until next time, remember, the best revenge is not a loud war but a quiet, happy life.